Let me share something that might make you uncomfortable. You could be hemorrhaging money right now and not even realize it. The truth nobody wants to hear is this. A six-figure salary means nothing if you don't understand the psychology of how money actually works. Millions of people are trapped in what I call the wealth illusion cycle. They're making moves they think are smart, checking off boxes they think matter, all while digging themselves deeper into a hole they can't see. Stay with me to the end. I'm going to give you a clear framework to diagnose if you're in this cycle and exactly how to break free, starting today. My name is David, and I spent the last 6 months researching why financially stable people stay broke, why six-figure earners live paycheck to paycheck, and why the middle class keeps making the same devastating money mistakes generation after generation. If you've ever looked at your bank account at the end of the month and wondered where all your money actually went, if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right but somehow getting nowhere financially, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's get brutally clear on what wasting money actually means. Most people get this completely wrong. Wasting money has nothing to do with the number on the receipt. You can spend $50 and watch it multiply, or drop $5,000 and have it vanish forever. The only question that matters is, what did that money return to you? Real money, money well spent, comes back multiplied. As an appreciating asset, a skill that raises your income, better health that prevents future bills, or time freedom that lets you focus on what truly moves the needle. Wasted money simply evaporates. No return, no residual value, just gone. Here's the cruelest irony in personal finance. Being poor is outrageously expensive. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, there's no buffer, no margin for error. Every dollar is already spoken for. You're not thinking about wealth or retirement, you're in pure survival mode. And the waste at this level isn't optional, it's structurally forced on you. Let me show you how the system punishes being broke. Your work boots fall apart 10 days before payday? You swipe the credit card and pay 20 to 30% interest. That $60 purchase just became $80. Refrigerator dies? You can't get a fair loan, so you pay 2 or 3 times the price through predatory financing. Car breaks down? You patch it for $200, then pay again next month, and again. This is the poverty premium, the hidden tax on having no cash reserves. It gets worse. When you're broke, you're forced to buy the cheapest version of everything. Shoes that last 8 weeks instead of 5 years, a $30 coffee maker that dies in 6 months, processed food that sets you up for health disasters later. This isn't ignorance or bad decisions, it's arithmetic. When the choice is pay the electric bill or eat protein this week, you're being rational inside an impossible situation. The waste here isn't the villain, it's the victim. It's a tax on poverty that keeps people trapped until something external breaks the cycle. Now flip the script. Wealthy people waste money too, sometimes spectacularly. A $90,000 SUV that loses $35,000 the moment it leaves the lot. $800 sneakers that do the same job as $100 ones. First-class flights, bottle service, watches worth more than most annual salaries. But their mistakes don't sink them. A $40,000 loss on a car is annoying, not catastrophic. Their lights stay on, their kids stay in school. Why? Because they've built financial shock absorbers, 6 to 12 months of expenses in cash, assets generating passive income, diversified investments compounding quietly, insurance and structures that protect them. Their luxury waste is maybe 5 to 10% of net worth, painful, never devastating. And they understand opportunity cost. They know that $40,000 in an index fund becomes over $100,000 in 10 years. They choose the luxury car with eyes wide open. That's informed waste, not unconscious bleeding. The rich have permission to make mistakes because their foundation is solid. If you're watching this, statistically this is you. And I need you to hear something that might sting. The middle class is where most wealth goes to die. You're earning a decent salary, 4, 7, even $10,000 a month. Stable job, car payment, maybe a mortgage. You're not struggling. You eat out, upgrade your phone, take a vacation. By every visible measure, you look like you're winning. But ask yourself this. What happens if your income stops for 90 days? If the answer is panic, selling things, or moving back home, you're not winning, you're performing. At the end of every month, your account looks almost exactly like it did at the start. Maybe 200 or 500 left over, nothing that compounds, nothing that buys freedom. You're on the world's most expensive treadmill. Earn, spend, repeat. Your income may grow, but your wealth stays flat, or worse, negative when you count the debt. Where's the waste? It's disguised as normal adult life. $450 a month on a car payment for something reliable, $2,200 on a mortgage because you deserved the extra bedroom, $320 on student loans from years ago, $60 on a gym membership you barely use, $65 across 7 streaming services, $180 on full coverage insurance for a depreciating asset, $150 on family phone plans. Before you make a single intentional choice, 70 to 85% of your income is already spoken for. You look around and see the nice car, the big house, the full closet. You call it comfort. I call it a beautiful prison. Real comfort is knowing your life doesn't implode if income stops for 3 to 6 months. What you have means you're 60 days from catastrophe.
Lifestyle inflation is the silent killer. At $3,500 a month, you spend $3,500. Get a raise to $5,500, you upgrade everything and spend $5,500. 3 years later, you're at $7,500 and still spending every dollar. Income up over 100%, savings rate still 0. The math works perfectly, just not for you. Psychologically, you're not buying things because you need them. You're buying signals. The new iPhone, so you're not the one with the cracked screen. The new car, so you don't look like you're struggling. The bigger house, so the in-laws are impressed. You're managing your image instead of your net worth, and that image is stealing your future. This is why the middle class wastes the most potential. The poor waste because the system forces them. The rich waste, but it's absorbed. The middle class wastes by choice during the exact years when compound growth could change everything. Every $500 spent on things you don't need is $500 that won't become $3,500 in 20 years at 10%. Every $1,000 car payment is $1,000 that won't become $7,000 in future wealth. Research shows middle-class households save just 3 to 8% of income. $92 to $97 out of every 100 disappears forever. And even that tiny amount saved, half gets raided within a year for emergencies that were completely predictable.
The defensiveness is telling. Suggest someone doesn't need that $45,000 car and you hear, "But I need it for work. But I deserve it. But everyone has one." The spending has become identity. They've confused consumption with worth. Meanwhile, the clock ticks. Your 30s become 40s, 40s become 50s, and suddenly you're staring at retirement with $47,000 in a 401k and a sinking feeling. Time is the one resource you can't earn back. Here's the plot twist. If you're middle class, you're actually sitting on the most powerful wealth-building position possible. You have 3 advantages neither the poor nor the wealthy fully possess. Sufficient income to save meaningfully, access to education, you're watching this right now, and legitimate tools, reasonable loans, investment accounts, compound interest working for you instead of against you. The problem isn't what you have, it's how you're deploying it. You've been using a wealth-building machine to dig yourself deeper. Time to reverse the engine. This isn't theory. Execute these moves and your financial life will look completely different in 12 months. First, eliminate fixed obligations ruthlessly. Your goal? Monthly obligations below 50% of income. Switch to a $25 phone plan. Sell the $35,000 car even if you're upside down. Buy an $8,000 to $12,000 reliable used one in cash. Cancel unused subscriptions. Shop insurance. Raise deductibles. These moves alone can free $700 to $900 a month. That's a different life.
Second, engineer positive cash flow every single month. Minimum target, $300 to $500 surplus. If you can't find 400 out of 5,000, you have a priority problem, not an income problem. Coffee at home, meal prep, say no to paid weekend plans. These aren't sacrifices, they're investments. The person who retires at 55 with over $1 million made these choices at 32. The person still working at 68 prioritized living their best life at 32. Which story do you want? Third, build real assets, not Instagram props. Emergency fund first, 6 months of bare minimum expenses in a high-yield account. Then invest. Sample allocation for $500 monthly, 35% broad index funds, 25% bonds, 20% international, 15% REITs or dividend funds, 5% high risk only if you can lose it. $500 a month at 8% becomes $91,000 in 10 years. The same $500 on car payments and subscriptions? Zero. Fourth, kill lifestyle inflation before it kills you. When income rises, lifestyle stays flat or rises only minimally. Invest every extra dollar. That single discipline, repeated, is the difference between retiring early and working until you die. Ask yourself honestly, do you want the temporary dopamine hit now or permanent freedom later? Most choose now. That's why most stay broke. You now have the information to choose differently. If you made it this far, you're already ahead of 90% of people. But information without action is entertainment. So here's what I want you to do right now. Drop the word freedom in the comments if you're committing to at least one of these moves in the next 30 days. Not thinking about it, committing. And smash that like button if this made you rethink how you've been treating your money. Your future self is watching. Don't let them down.